Premier League Matchday 1, 2026/27. Season Review. The Premier League is back, and honestly, one matchday in and this season already feels different. A newly promoted side just humiliated Manchester United on their own patch. Brighton put 4 past Aston Villa in 31 minutes and went top of the table. Tottenham spent a fortune in the summer, then lost 3-0 without registering a single shot on target in the entire first half. Man City, under new manager Enzo Maresca, needed a 90th minute winner just to survive their opening day. And Liverpool? Liverpool needed a penalty in the 8th minute of stoppage time to rescue a point at St James's Park. All of that in just one weekend. Welcome back. Today we're breaking down all 10 Matchday 1 fixtures, pulling out the biggest talking points, and at the end, I'll give you my picks for the most disappointing team, the biggest surprise, and the standout moment of the opening round. If you're here for Premier League content, do yourself a favour. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and leave a like. It genuinely helps the channel, and it means we can keep doing this every single week. Let's get into it. The champions open the season. The 2026/27 campaign kicked off on Friday evening, August 21st, with the defending champions hosting the newest arrivals. Arsenal against Coventry City at the Emirates, over 60,000 in attendance. And for Coventry, this was more than just a football match. It was a homecoming 25 years in the making. The last time Coventry played in the top flight was the 2000/01 season. Some of you watching this weren't even born yet. But fairy tales don't tend to survive long against a side like Arsenal. Kai Havertz opened the scoring on 14 minutes. Bukayo Saka doubled the lead on 22. And captain Martin Odegaard completed the job 3 minutes into the second half. Arsenal 3, Coventry 0. Clinical, controlled, exactly what you'd expect from the champions. To Coventry's credit, they showed fight in the closing stages, enough to suggest they won't be pushovers this season. But the gap in quality was obvious. The road to survival starts now, and it's going to be long. The shock at MKM Stadium. Saturday brought 4 simultaneous kickoffs, and the result everyone was talking about came from Hull. Hull City, back in the Premier League for the first time in 9 years, beat Manchester United 2-0 at the MKM Stadium, in front of 24,470 fans who could barely believe what they were watching. Semi Ajayi rose highest to head home from a corner on 16 minutes. Then, new signing Nobel Mendy added a second with another header from a free kick on 37. Both goals from set pieces, the exact weakness that's plagued United for seasons. And this time, nobody could hide from it. It was the first time in history that Hull City had beaten Manchester United in the top division. Manager Sergej Jukirovic had his side drilled to perfection, while United looked clueless, completely and utterly clueless. An opening day disaster for the Red Devils. And if you needed any proof that football is a universal language of suffering, Thai fans, fresh off watching their national team lose 2-0 to Vietnam in the ASEAN Cup final, joked online, "Same scoreline as Man United, we have nothing left to say." Ipswich Edge. Sunderland in cruel fashion. Also on Saturday, at Portman Road, Ipswich Town marked their return to the Premier League after a season in the Championship with a dramatic 2-1 win over Sunderland. Emerson put Ipswich ahead on 23 minutes. Nilson Angulo equalised for Sunderland on 38. And then, in the 89th minute, Jack Clarke, former Sunderland player, sold by the club, came back to haunt them with the winner. Football can be that cruel. Sunderland were beaten by the very player they let go. That's the kind of storyline you couldn't write if you tried. Leeds steal it late at the City Ground. At the City Ground, Nottingham Forest debuted yet another new manager, Oliver Glasner, the 5th man in the dugout in fewer than 12 months. And his first afternoon in charge didn't go to plan. The match looked destined for a goalless draw until the 87th minute, when Anton Stach struck a gorgeous free kick to give Leeds United all 3 points. Forest 0, Leeds 1. Daniel Farke's side are back in the Premier League, and they announced their return with an away win sealed by a stoppage time stunner. An away victory on opening day decided by a last gasp goal. For a newly promoted team, it doesn't get much better than that. Everton christened their new home. Over at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, Everton's brand new 52,000-seat arena, David Moyes couldn't have scripted a better opening night. A 2-0 win over Crystal Palace. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall broke the deadlock on 41 minutes. New signing Tierno Barry made it 2 on 52. Crystal Palace, under their new manager, struggled to make any kind of impression. But the bigger story was the stadium itself. Everton fans have waited years for this ground. Years of delays, frustrations and false starts. And on Saturday afternoon, the place was absolutely rocking. More than a football match, it was a celebration of something the supporters had dreamed about for the best part of a decade. Tottenham's nightmare in West London. And then there was Spurs. Roberto De Zerbi, the man who turned Brighton into one of the most exciting teams in Europe, was supposed to bring that same magic to Tottenham. The club spent aggressively in the summer. Expectations were sky high. None of that mattered at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford dismantled Tottenham 3-0. Keane Lewis Potter opened the scoring on 11 minutes. Vitaly Janelt made it 2 on 32. Michael Kayode added a third on 48. And the most damning statistic of all, Tottenham did not register a single shot on target in the first half. Not one. Their expected goals for the entire match came in at 0.47. Brentford's was 3.96. That's not a bad day. That's a structural failure. De Zerbi didn't mince words afterward. We played very, very badly. And he's right. If Spurs keep performing like this, it doesn't matter how much they spent. Money means nothing without execution. Brighton demolish Aston Villa. Sunday's headline act belonged to Brighton, and what a headline it was. At the Amex Stadium, Fabian Hurtzler's side ripped Aston Villa apart with 4 goals inside the first 31 minutes. Centre-back Victor Lindelof started the collapse with an own goal on 7 minutes. Maxime Deskuiper doubled it on 17. Then Jack Hinchelwood scored twice in 60 seconds, goals on 29 and 30 minutes. Gomez da Silva added a 5th-ish, it was actually the 4th before half-time with one more at 39, to make it 4-0 before the break. Aston Villa, managed by Unai Emery, one of the most respected coaches in European football, simply fell apart. No response, no fight, no answers. Brighton went top of the Premier League table on goal difference, and their fans, who aren't exactly used to looking down at everyone else from first place, savoured every single second. If Brighton can sustain anything close to this level, a top 6 finish is absolutely on the cards. Man City survive, barely. Also on Sunday, over 60,000 packed into the Etihad to witness the start of a new era. Enzo Maresca, post-Guardiola, a decade of dominance now in someone else's hands. And for 70 minutes, it was borderline disastrous. Marcus Tavernier gave Bournemouth the lead on 25 minutes, and City looked lost. No rhythm, no fluency. Wave after wave of attacks that went absolutely nowhere. The crowd grew restless. The new manager grew anxious. Then, on 83 minutes, Mark Gahey, a summer signing, headed in the equaliser. And in the 90th minute, Josko Gvardiol struck the winner. City 2, Bournemouth 1. Maresca exhaled. He admitted afterward that he still doesn't have his ideal team. And watching that performance, you'd have to agree. This is a Manchester City side in the middle of an identity crisis, missing the Guardiola blueprint, missing the leaders who made it work, and relying on late drama to paper over very real cracks. They won, but they know, and we know, this isn't close to good enough yet. The match of the round, Newcastle 2-2. Liverpool. The most dramatic fixture of Matchday 1 was saved for Sunday evening. Newcastle against Liverpool, St James's Park. 52,630 roaring Geordies, and a finish that nobody in that stadium will ever forget. Anthony Elanga gave Newcastle the lead inside 4 minutes. Liverpool fought back through Cody Gakpo on 54. Joseph Willock restored Newcastle's advantage just 2 minutes later. And then Newcastle defended that lead all the way through to the 96th minute. They were seconds away. 96 minutes of holding on. And then Lewis Hall brought down Victor Munoz inside the box. The referee pointed to the spot. Dominik Szoboszlai stepped up in the 98th minute with the entire stadium screaming at him and buried it. 2-2. For the second consecutive year, Newcastle have been gutted by a late Liverpool goal at St James's Park.
For Andoni Iraola, Liverpool's new manager, making his competitive debut, it was the kind of escape that defines early season fortune. Somehow, some way, Liverpool stole a point from the jaws of defeat. It was the only draw of the entire matchday, and it was worth every second. West London derby closes the weekend. The final fixture of the round took place on Monday evening. Fulham against Chelsea at Craven Cottage. A West London derby to close out Matchday 1, and also the competitive debut for two new managers, Alvaro Arbeloa at Fulham and Xabi Alonso at Chelsea. Two former Real Madrid teammates, now facing off from opposite dugouts on the opening night of their Premier League careers. The kind of storyline only this league can produce. The table after Matchday 1.
So here's where things stand. Brighton sit top of the Premier League on goal difference with a +4 margin. Brentford are second on +3. Arsenal third, also +3. Then Hull City, Everton, Ipswich, Leeds and Man City, all on 3 points. Newcastle and Liverpool share a point apiece, and at the bottom, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Coventry, Manchester United, Sunderland, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, all pointless after the opening weekend. A few numbers worth noting. 27 goals were scored across 9 matches, an average of 3 per game. There was only 1 draw all weekend, and 3 of the 4 newly promoted sides won on opening day: Hull City, Ipswich Town and Leeds United. That's a remarkable return for the new boys.
Matchday 1 awards.
Biggest surprise of the week: Brighton, 4-0 against Aston Villa. 4 goals in 31 minutes. Top of the table. Fabian Herzler is building something sharp, structured and genuinely dangerous. If they keep this up, the established order should be worried. Most disappointing team: Tottenham, not even close. A massive summer spend, a world-class new manager in Zerbi, and they lose 3-0 to Brentford with an XG of 0.47. 0 shots on target in the first half. That's not a blip, that's an alarm bell. If things don't change fast, Spurs are heading for another season of underachievement. Standout newcomer: Hull City. Beating Manchester United 2-0 in your first top-flight game in 9 years? Nobody predicted that. Nobody.
Jurkiewicz proved that promoted clubs don't have to be cannon fodder.
And the moment everyone's still talking about, Dominik Szoboszlai's penalty in the 98th minute to rescue Liverpool at St James's Park. Ice in his veins, 52,000 people screaming, the weight of the entire result on one kick, nerves of absolute steel. Looking ahead to Matchday 2. The second round of fixtures is already on the horizon, and there are some tasty matchups waiting. Brighton, top of the table and riding a wave of confidence, face Chelsea. Man City take on Crystal Palace, and Manchester United, licking their wounds after that humiliation at Hull, desperately need a response. So here's the question: who's winning the title this season? Can Arsenal defend the crown?
Will Man City find their identity without Guardiola?
Or is Xabi Alonso about to turn Chelsea into genuine contenders? Drop your prediction in the comments, we want to hear it. And if this video gave you everything you needed from Matchday 1, share it with a mate, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you for the Matchday 2 review. This season is going to be special. Don't miss a single week.